I was muted through all of that. Welcome to Wednesday Night Coffee with Kollecting Kaos. My name is James, and tonight I'm going to show you some comics that I pressed over the last week. I'm going to show you some comics that I recently acquired, as well as a couple other things. I'm going to show you a comic book that I did some conservation work on recently, and a couple of things that I found while going through my stuff that I didn't know I had. I was very happy to find them. I will not be doing a comic book basics tonight, unfortunately. I haven't had time to prepare one, and I was sick for a couple of days this past week, so that's why I haven't released any shorter videos over the week. Not because I didn't want to, but because I had no voice. And for a little while, that was literally it. I had no voice. Yeah. Yeah, Michael, no sound. How you doing, Kenneth? I kind of wish I was still in Virginia, but I'm not. I'm in Texas. Weather's been great. Unfortunately, I couldn't enjoy it much. Looks like Virginia's in for a little bit of a cold spell coming up quick here. Don't miss the Virginia weather. I do miss the change in seasons. So let me go ahead and get started. I have these. Most of these are part of my collection. Not all of them. I've decided to keep the amazing adventures that I was showing, and I have one more to show. And that's number 34. This one came out pretty nice. Unfortunately, as I was pressing it or preparing it to press, I discovered that the Marvel value stamp is missing. So Overstreet still values this at about $2 in this condition with the stamp missing. One recently sold on eBay without a stamp for like 99 cents. So there you go. It's worth about $1 or $2. But it's still going to go back in my collection. Next up, I decided to press this to try to, because I'm still working on getting dents from the spine creases out and spine ticks. Spine ticks are spine stress that doesn't include a crease, and a spine crease is a spine tick that has a crease. Does that make sense? But that's this Superboy, the comic book. Overstreet value is about $2. One sold in similar condition to this for about $2.79 on eBay recently. I forgot to write the date down. But as you can see, you can still see the creases, but there's no indentations with the creases. So that was a success, in my opinion. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm doing different things and just pressing stuff that's going in my collection that I picked up over the last year as well. Like this next one. It's a Superboy 132. Overstreet value is about $14. A similar condition one sold recently on eBay for about $10. But it wasn't quite as clean as this one is. And this one does have some creases, but it's still a nice copy. I would grade it at a 1.5. I would not grade it higher than that. I don't believe in qualified grades on things that are missing interior. I will explain what I think of as qualified grade in a few minutes when I get to that. Next up, I was surprised that this was not already in with my other Superman comics. But I went ahead and pressed it, and it came out really good. It's from 1946. It is Superman number 43. Overstreet values this book in this condition at about $300. One sold on eBay. I think it was an auction on December 6th for about $200. Was it in as nice a shape as this one? So that's a really nice book. Belongs in my collection. Wayne Boring cover. Not a fan of Wayne Boring's Clark Kent, but I do like his Superman. Next up is another Superman. This one is number 158. Overstreet value is about $48. A one in similar condition sold for about $30 on eBay recently. This is a Kurt Swan cover. I can tell that just by looking at it. I don't have to look it up. And of course, he's my favorite Superman artist, period. So yeah, that's a nice Superman book. That is part of my collection. Next up, some of these were already in my collection. Some of them are additions to my collection. Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 46. This is Overstreet has this valued, and the Overstreet I'm using is last year's at about $18. One sold on eBay not too long ago in similar condition for about $3.25. I figure the seller didn't know what they had. That is not for sale. Not to mean I don't have any that won't be. Most of these, though, are part of my collection or going in my collection. Next up, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 47. A low-grade copy of this sold on eBay for $19.85. Overstreet value is about $20. This is a nice copy, much nicer than the other one. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. We like that. It is a new year, and I'm not showing any comics that came out of my pressing station today. Normally I would do that, but I'm not this time. I purposely accelerated some of the pressings to get enough to be able to show them. Next up, thank you. I'm showing a lot of Superman comics tonight, so you might really like that. Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 50. On November 3rd, a mid-grade copy of this sold for $12.50 on eBay. On November 17th, a lower grade copy sold for $9.50. Overstreet value of this book is about $20. I think I'm going to keep this one for my collection, even though it has a little bit of a chip out of it right up here. I think this one is going to stay in my collection. I do have more than one copy of that, by the way. Next up, again, I was working on the spine, and this one I can still feel the indentation, so this one didn't come out as nice as I would like it to. Overstreet value on this is about $4. One sold on December 26th for $3. That was a very fine minus, which is about where I would put this. I put this at about a very fine. So yeah, about the same. I've been working on it. I've got over a third of the Lois Lanes now. This is Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 58. Overstreet value is about $14. A low-grade copy sold on December 8th for $3.59. I would put this one at a solid mid-grade. It is missing a corner up here, but other than that, it's a really nice copy. Here's another one, number 53. Overstreet value is $17 on November 24th. A comparable copy to this one sold for $24.44 on eBay. So that's kind of neat. Patrick, good to see you, buddy. Always glad to see Patrick. Yes, all of us need more Lois Lanes for the collection. So that one I'm keeping. This is a Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man, number 239. I think I showed this one last week as an example of things you should look for. Since then, I have conserved it. So a very fine copy, newsstand copy, sold for about $7 on November 28th. That was the last sale I could find for eBay. Yeah, 25 cents for this is probably overpriced. I will probably end up giving this away eventually, even though it does have a McFarlane cover. It has been conserved, but conserving new comics like this is really a waste of time. I only did it for the practice. Next up, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 4. This one turned out kind of nice. Now, if you remember, I showed you one last week too. The one I showed last week is going in my collection. This one will go up for sale. Overstreet values $78. A really low grade, and I mean, I can't even believe they tried to sell it grade. Sold on eBay on September 12th for $35. I will probably ask around 50 or 60 for this one. I haven't decided yet. Look for that one on Friday night on Roy's channel, because that one will be up for sale. Next up, Archie, number 236. Overstreet value is $4 on this one. A low-grade copy sold on eBay for $8.10 on November 11th. So, yeah. You never know. That is part of my collection. Hang on, I might want to keep this one. I'll have to look at them again. I'm not sure which one I want to keep. This is another number 53 of Lois Lane. Overstreet value about $20. One sold on November 24th for $24.49. Yeah, this one, the other one has a spot missing on her dress, a white spot on the dress. This one doesn't. But this one has a little piece missing out of here, a chip. So I haven't decided which one of these I'm going to keep, but I'm going to keep one of them. And I'll offer the other one up for sale. Here's a copy of a number 50. This is, I think I showed one of these earlier tonight too. Overstreet value on this one is about $15 because it is a little bit lower grade. One sold for $9.50 on November 17th in a similar grade. This is probably the one I'm going to sell. Yeah, that's probably the one I'm going to sell. Next up, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 11. Overstreet value is about $35. A low-grade copy recently sold on December 15th for $19.99. This one is definitely going in my collection. I actually love this cover. I'm not sure who did the cover, though. I'll have to look that up. It might have been Kurt Swan. It might have been Schaffenberger. I'm thinking maybe Schaffenberger on this one, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Jungle Willis. I like this one a lot. Mr. Yu, glad you could stop in. Yep, Jungle Lois. We like Jungle Lois. Next up is another Archie, number 250. Overstreet value on this book is about $6. A low grade copy. There was only one copy I could find that sold on eBay, and it was a low grade for $2.59 on December 22nd. But this one is this one is not a low grade copy by any stretch of the imagination. I would put this one at a fine, so upper mid grade. That's part of my collection. This one surprised me when I looked it up. Mystery in Space. This is number 75. First time Adam Strange meets the Justice League of America. Of course, Ken Jor-El appears. This is actually a sequel to a Justice League of America number 3, I believe. Overstreet value $66. A one that's almost in this good a shape, sold on December 6th for $99. This is definitely staying in my collection, mostly because it's the only copy I have. Next up, we've got X-Men number 54. Overstreet value $5, even though it's a newsstand. Overstreet doesn't make a distinction. To them, there's no difference between a newsstand and a direct market copy. It's all the same to them. They don't care. Maybe someday they'll change their mind. I don't know. A CGC 9.8 sold on December 28th for $64. A regular copy of this sold for $4.53 on December 2nd. So about $5 is about right. But I like this one. I want a little more for it because it is newsstand. And the one that sold on December 2nd was not newsstand. It was just a regular direct market. Newsstand on this on 1994. It's a little more rare. Therefore, to me, it should be worth a little tiny bit more. Not a lot, but a little more. That one will be back up for sale. Coffee time. So there you go. That was the comics that I have pressed over the last week. And I believe it's time to go to the next segment. And back to you, just here browsing. I hope you have a good week also, or a good year also. Now, this week's acquisitions. I have a lot of them. I'm going to start out with a couple of things that Roy sent me from Horizon Picks because I really like them. And I was super impressed with this one because I've been wanting one of these for a while. This is an action figure of one of the Gen 13 figures. It's Fairchild from Gen 13. It's going to go in my collection. I'm kind of cutting back on the action figures in my collection, but this one I have to keep because I do like Gen 13. And Fairchild is probably my favorite character in that series. The other one he sent me that I probably have to keep, even though I don't really want to, is Magneto. And as many of you know, they have nicknamed me Chaos Nito on his channel, saying that I look a little bit like Magneto. So I'll probably end up having to keep that, put it in the background somewhere on this side because he doesn't belong with Superman. So let's go ahead and start showing you some of the stuff I picked up this week. Now, I haven't pressed any of these, haven't worked on any of these. A lot of these are low-grade comics that I bought specifically to work on and put them in my collection afterwards. First up is Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane, number 30. About a mid-grade copy, but it it needs some work. Definitely needs a press and a clean, and we'll see what else it needs when I get to it. Next up, this one is low grade. Definitely needs a lot of work. Needs some conservation. This is number 33, and I'm anxious to read these too because I do read my Superman comics. So number 42 also needs some work. It has a pretty bad spine roll and a tear, and we'll see what we can do about that. And of course, it has a lot of white on it, and you can't see it too much. Well, yeah, you can. There's a lot of grunginess on that white, so I need to clean that up. This one screams for help. This one's probably going to get a wash. Not a bath, but a wash. This is number 43. As you can see, really bad spine roll. I'm going to have to be super careful with that. No pun intended. And I have a number 45. It also has a really bad spine roll. It needs some help. And I will give it that help and love that it deserves. Next up, number 51. This one feels like it has some possible water damage. I know it has a stain here. I will try to get that removed. White cover going to be really hard to deal with. Definitely has a tide mark here. So yeah, we'll see what I can do with that. Next up, number 52. Again, really bad spine roll. Unfortunately, it has, looks like Sharpie there. I'm hoping it isn't. It might be black magic marker, which is worse than Sharpie. Again, it needs a lot of love, and I'll see about dealing with that like it needs to. Something you've seen a couple of. I now have 3 copies of this. This is a lower grade copy. Obviously, you can see here it looks like it took a dump on the pavement. It's scratched up. It's got a lot of problems. I'll see what I can do with it. Try to make it look a little bit better before I offer it up for sale. And that one will be up for sale. Yeah, this one's not going to be easy. Number 56. It's in really rough shape. I don't know if I can fix. I know I can fix it, but can I make it look good? That's the question. Without doing any color touch, because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it with color touch. Staples are rusted on this. I may, depending on how bad the staples are, I may end up having to replace the staples. If I do, it's low grade. It's not a big deal. I've got staple wire. I'll make new staples if I have to. Finally, number 57. Again, it's in pretty rough shape. But I bought them because they were low grade. I wanted to see if I could improve them and make them a little better. Didn't pay a whole lot for those. I'm just happy that I got them. Next up, this is a Batman. And I want to show you the problems with it. Batman number 328. As you can see, it has water damage. It's got really bad wrinkles in it. The pages are stiff. So this one will probably have to be disassembled and each page washed and cleaned and soaked in calcium hydroxide or maybe some methyl cellulose. If it's grease pen, I can get it off. That would be brilliant if it's grease pen, but it doesn't look like it. Let's look at some more here. I bought this specifically because it was low grade. Sea Devils number 26. I think I paid about $4 for it. Shipping cost me more than the comic did. So there you go. It'll go in my collection, but it does need a little work. But you know, I think just a clean and a press might take care of this one. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, My Greatest Adventure number 23. Bad spine roll. Again, a clean and a press. Fix the spine roll. Looks like it might have some tape on it. I hate tape. I hate tape on comics. But I think I can deal with it and we'll make it look better. Challengers of the Unknown, number 21. Bad tide mark right down here. I can get that out. That's not a problem. I think this comic is going to look great once I finish with it. I think I can bring it from the 1.8 or 2.0 that it is now, maybe all the way up to maybe a 3 or a 3.5. Now I'm going to show you some comics that I got from Roy. He sent me this one, Archie versus Predator, which I wanted it, and it came with another comic, so that's cool. When he showed this, I went nuts. I had to have it because, yeah, Cursed Comics Cavalcade. I personally, I think I paid too much for it, but you know what? I don't care. I've never seen a copy before, so I'm happy to get that. An Airboy I didn't have. This is number 11, and I didn't have this one, so I'm happy to get that. It does need a clean on the back side, so I will take care of that. I will clean it and press it. Enjoy it. Batgirl 27, I claimed this on the sale as a backup claim because nobody else wanted it. So, yeah, I took it for my collection. And I think that was it. I think I'm going into some of the other ones that Michael might recognize some of these. We've got New Adventures of Superboy number 4. It's in pretty nice shape. It's still going to get a clean and a press. I've decided any comic that's going in my collection will be cleaned and pressed first. Number 19. Number 34. And I'm happy to get this because it has Dial H for Hero, which I enjoyed reading when it was back in the 60s. I enjoyed reading those. And we've got number 40. A Rosenberger cover, Falling in Love, number 98. These are hard to get in nice shape. And this one's not spectacular, but it's decent. And I think with a light clean and a press, it'll be perfect. It won't be perfect condition, but it'll be perfect for my collection. I collect DC comics primarily, but I do collect a few other things as well. Secret Hearts, number 125. Again, a nice copy. Finding these in any grade is difficult. Finding them in high grade is nearly impossible. So I take what I can get, and I'm happy with this one. Looks real good in an OPP bag. And we've got Superboy number 151. This one needs a lot of work, but I think I'm up to the task. Superboy number 177. It needs a clean. It needs a press. It might need a little spine work, maybe reinforcing the spine with some Tingujo paper. We'll see when I get to it. These are great. Heckle and Jekyll, New Terry Tunes. This is from, yeah, I'm not sure of the date on this one, but it does have a stain here. I don't know if I can get that out or not. I don't even know if I'm going to try. I will clean it up a little bit and press it, see what happens. But I like the Dell comics as well. Dell and Gold Key. Dell, Gold Key, and Archie. Those are my primary collecting things right now. But I collect a lot of other stuff too. There's a Detective Comics number 441. This is a 100-pager. It's in rough shape. I think I can rebuild it. Make it better, faster, stronger. I have the technology. Action 658. I didn't have this, believe it or not, which surprises me. But I think what this is one of the ones that was in the 1978 flood. This one was destroyed, I think. So I think that's what happened to it. Got Archie's Pal Jughead, number 102. Not in the best shape in the world, but I'm happy with it, except for the tape along the spine. And I'll deal with that when the time comes. Laugh Comics, number 157. Again, it's an Archie comic. I like Archie comics. After all, Neil Adams did his first comic book work in Archie comics, so what's not to like, right? Dell, Yogi Bear, missing this Dell stamp up here. I might be able to replace that. I might try. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I like it. I like it anyway, even if I can't. One more that from Horizon Picks, Roy, that he sent. That I like this a lot. I have a copy, but mine is trash. And he sent me this. It was a reprint of an earlier Red Rider comic that was included. It doesn't reprint the whole comic, just one story out of it. But it's was included in Daisy air rifles, and I love it. And yeah, I appreciate him sending that to me. There he is. How you doing, Michael? Hope you have a great new year. Next up, we've got Judge Dredd, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I will go over these lightly. I don't think I need to press them. If I do need to, I will, but probably just a light clean with the cotton round and putting them in an OPP bag would be fine. I appreciate that. I don't have those. I didn't have them. Well, I do have them, but I didn't. Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, number 2. I don't know if this is the one I'm missing or not, but I grab these anytime I see them and see what happens with them. Now, this one I know I don't have, and I like this cover so much, even though Vince Coletta did the inks on it. Starfire, number 7. When I first looked at this, I thought, wow, that's Kirby. And then I looked closer, and it's Vosberg. But he did such a great job making it look like Kirby. It is not funny. Of course, it's newsstand because it's from the late 70s. So, like that. From Charlton Comics, Billy the Kid, number 118. I like Western comics. This is from 1979? No, 1976. So this was one of the early ones that had the barcode on it. This is I'm not sure what number it is, but it's a Grimm's Ghost Stories from March of 1971. And the reason I know that is because I know how to read these codes up here. It has 301 on the code, which is March, or no, wait, that'd be January 1973, excuse me. No, I think I had it right the first time. I think it's March of 1971. I could look it up. I'll check it later. Swamp Picker, glad you could stop by. We always appreciate everybody. Hope you're having a great new year so far. Then I got High Adventure Heroes. This is May 1969. Got Superman number 357. I should have this. I don't know. But if I do have it, I'm not sure I have it in a newsstand. So I'll find out when I add it to my collection. Wonder Woman number 307. This one needs a clean on the back cover in the worst way. I mean, it's gray. It's no longer white. It's gray. So, yeah. Yes, in a newsstand, but it's not new enough to say in a newsstand because it's older. The older ones are newsstand. Ross Andrew and Dick Giordano cover. And DC Comics presents a number 10 Superman and Sergeant Rock. I have it. I have it Whitman. I don't have it in the news. I don't have it DC. I have it Whitman. And it didn't have the newsstand, obviously, because it was in the 3-pack. So there you go. Superman number 43. This is from the second series. I know I'm missing this one. And this is in a newsstand. There, are you happy, Michael? I said it for you. That one's going in my collection. Superman 44. I don't know if I have this one or not. I think I have this one. Like I said, a lot of my Superman comics from right around this time frame were destroyed in the flood of 2007 or 2008, whichever. Atari Force number 2. Always fun to get Atari Force comics. And number 9. From Tandy Computer, Whiz Kids. These are always fun. These were given away by Radio Shack, and if I hadn't known it at the time, I would have been going to Radio Shack more often. Green Lantern number 161. I don't know if I have this one or not. I think I do, but I'm not going to swear to it. And in any case, it's a newsstand, so we'll find out. Batman. This is number 412 from 1987. Nice cover. I have no idea who did it, but I like the cover. One of my favorite DC characters after like Superman and Wonder Woman, and it's Jonah Hex. And I got Hex 13 here. Of course, this needs a clean. It needs a clean badly. It doesn't need a bad clean. It needs a clean. and it will get one. Then we have from February of 1971, copy of Scamp from Gold Key. And from Spire Christian Comics, Adam and Eve. Now I have another copy of this. I'm sure I do, because I have one in my presses right now. But I don't know if this is an earlier printing of it or not. It might be an earlier printing. And the reason I like these Spire Christian Comics is because of who did it, Al Hartley. Now, Al Hartley, for people that are familiar with Golden Age comics, Al Hartley is a pretty big name. Very undervalued as far in his later work, because he decided, hey, I'm not doing that stuff anymore. I want to do the Christian comics. And that's what he started doing. But he did a backup feature called Roger Dodger in Exciting Comics, which ran from number 51 to number 67, and that was from 1946 to 1949. He did a couple of pages for America's Best Comics in number 20 to 28. And he also did the character Zippy in Fighting Yank. And he also did some work for Atlas, which became Marvel. Did the Black Rider in Wild Western, Cliff Mason, White Hunter, and Jungle Tales. He did the Thor story in Journey into Mystery 90. So if you have Journey into Mystery 90, you have some of his work. He also did the Iron Man feature in Tales of Suspense, number 68. And he did the Last Giant Man feature in Tales to Astonish, number 69. And so, yeah, he's a pretty big deal. And that's why I like those comics, is because of him. I like his artwork. I like his style. And he's also a good writer, so that helps. Back on, we have Justice League number 69. Believe it or not, I don't have this. Superman number 32. I think I do have a copy of this, but I'm not sure. So we'll find out. Superman Family number 182. Superman Family started out life as Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. When DC Comics was consolidating their line, they canceled Lois Lane, they canceled Supergirl, and they renamed Jimmy Olsen as Superman Family, and Supergirl and Lois Lane ended up with were part of the features of this comic. And the last one, I saved the best for last, of course, and that's Sergio Aragon's Action Speak. And I can't wait to get into this. I can't say read it because there's no reading involved in this. It's looking at the picture. It's kind of like the Gone comic. Okay. I think next I'm going to show you a couple of things that I didn't know I had, but was glad to find. We're going to start with this Theakston cover. This is Movie Monsters number 2. And the reason I have it, I didn't remember that I had it, but looking through it, the reason I have it is because it has an article on Superman the movie in here, and also talks about Superman throughout cinema. So that's why I have this. Very happy that I have it. Very happy that I found it, because I've completely forgotten I had it. It's probably worth around $30 in this condition. Now, the second item that I found that I didn't know I had really made me happy, because it has a gorgeous Jeff Jones cover on it. and that's Weird Tales of the Macabre. And Weird Tales of the Macabre, whether you know it or not, was published by Skybald, or Skybald? No, not Skybald. It was published by I can't think of the name now. The same people that published Atlas Comics in the 70s published this. And I was just thrilled that I have a copy of it. And this is in really nice shape. Value probably about $30 again. Very happy to have both of those. They are staying in my collection as far as I know. And that's what I found. That I found a lot of other stuff that I didn't know I had. Nothing really worth showing. So let me dig this out. This is the last item I'm going to show. And then we can just chat and talk or whatever. This is a Marvel Classics Comics, number 20, Frankenstein. Now, I showed this on Roy's channel, Horizon Picks channel, on a Friday night and offered it up for sale, and no one went for it, and Roy was going to get it, but I showed him what was wrong with it. He went, nah, I'm not going there. I would have graded this at the time at maybe a 0.8, maybe a 1 at best. If I was feeling generous, I would have given it a 1. Really bad water stains, really bad spine split. It looked terrible. I went through, I disassembled the comic, which is not an easy thing to do because it's a square bound comic. Disassembled it, washed the cover, got you can still see where some of that stain was, but for the most part, the stain is gone. Washed every single page, reassembled and soaked it in calcium hydroxide to make the pages more supple. Reassembled the comic. It can be read. It's in nice shape. I did reinforce the spine. I had to reinforce a few of the other pages. Really happy with the way it turned out. And yeah, this is it's a real gem. Now, I would put this at a conserved, which makes it a qualified grade, at a conserved maybe 4.5 maybe, conserved. I still need to press it. And I have something I'm going to do with this. It will probably show up next week as books that I have pressed. So yeah, it went from a really nasty looking copy to a gorgeous copy, in my opinion. And now, to me, a conserved grade would be a qualified grade, not something that's missing something out of the inside of it. So there you go. That's really, really nice. It turned out really nice. A lot better than I expected it to. Jackson Roy Kirk. Yes, Happy New Year to you as well. And that's what I have to show you tonight. Roy sent me a box full of stuff. But I'm not going to show most of it because most of it is, you'll see some of it next year on my Christmas tree. It's a little late to be adding more stuff to the Christmas tree. I'm going to be taking it down tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be showing that stuff next year on the Christmas tree. And then there's some stuff in there that I'm probably going to offer some up for sale. There's a couple items that I don't think I can sell. I'm just going to take them over to the Boys and Girls Club and hand them over to them and let them see what they can get for them, if anything. So that's what I've got. I can answer any questions anybody has, in particular about anything that I showed tonight. I will happily answer questions on after I drink some coffee because my throat's getting parched. And my coffee's getting cold, but that's okay. Yesterday, here in Central Texas, we hit a new record high. I think it hit 77 at one point, maybe 78, which is not a record high for Texas, but it's a record high for January 31st or December 31st. And today, I don't think it ever got into the 60s. It might have. It might have gotten up to 62 or 63. But that was about it. Yeah, I like the Radio Shack comics. I like the obviously I like the Christian Spire comics for the reasons I told you. Al Hartley, he's just a phenomenal artist, and I've pressed all of the other ones that I have. They'll be shown next week. All of his stuff, and maybe I'll give a little more in-depth talk about him, but I doubt it. Yeah, the DC Romance had some good artists in it. Pretty much all of the artists were there. Yeah, but you guys are about to be hit with some cold. I've been reading a book called America's First Army, I think it was. And they're talking about the American Revolution, and in particular, the snows and cold in the Pennsylvania and New York area in 1777, where it would drop like a foot of snow overnight. And the Continental Army didn't have the supplies to maintain themselves. Yep. Yeah. Maybe as far south as Florida. It's going right over the top of me. I'll get a little cold, but not like that. Of course, Michael Angry Otter, he's down south. He doesn't worry about it. It never gets cold down there. Cold for him is when it gets to 60. That's cold. Of course, that's cold here too for me. Yeah. DC Romance, all of the romance titles, all of them had really good art and decent stories as well, and are hard to find in decent grade. PTT. Yeah, the Phantom Stranger comic that I keep saying I'm going to start, which I can now that this one is finished. This was the one I was most excited about doing, was this, but I have an old pre-horror comic that I've been wanting to get repaired for a while, and I think I'm almost to the point where I can take that one on. Really looking forward to tackling it when I am confident that I can do it justice. And of course, getting back onto Superman 9, I'm looking forward to that. But that's not an easy one. But I'm that one's going to be an actual repair, whereas most of what I'm doing is conservation work now. Well, I'm glad you appreciate them. Send them out to all your friends so that they can appreciate them, and I can get my viewership up a little bit. Yeah, it's being able to clean and press and do that stuff. It's great to be able to do that stuff. And I'd like to show more of it, but some of it is so involved and takes so much to do. Like this one. It has 48 pages. That's 4 pages for each section, so that's 14, I think, or something like that. 48, 24. That's 12 interior pages plus the cover, or sections plus the cover. So that should have taken me. There was a couple of days that I was able to do 2 pages in a day rather than 1 because it warmed up. So yeah, this one took me 7 or 8 days to do because I had to wash each individual cover. I had to do some tear seals on each individual cover and some other stuff. And that's why it took so long. And it was very, very involved. And it's not finished yet because, like I said, I still need to press it. Jocelyn, how are you doing? Glad you could show up. I have your stuff still. I will send it out sometime in the new year, along with not 1 but 2 Star Trek posters. You're going to get both of them. So I do have the initial start where I wash the cover, but I don't show everything on that. I have to edit that still and put it in a video and release it. But yeah, that ought to be fun. And you get to see the setup I used to wash. And there's a lot of conservationists out there that would definitely raise some eyebrows at the way I do things, because I don't use DI water. I use tap water to clean comics. And of course, that's a big no-no. You can never do that because it leaves tide marks. So it doesn't. Not the way I do it. A lot of them are saying, well, you have to use DI water, but DI water takes all of the sizing out of the paper, and you got to put the sizing back in the paper. Distilled water, on the other hand, doesn't take out all the sizing out of the paper, but I don't have any way to deliver it. So I do it the way I do it, and it comes out fine. I don't have a problem with it. And that's what my channel is all about, is showing stuff that I have, informing people. That's why I'm telling you overstreet price or overstreet value and recently sold eBay value on the comics that I'm pressing now, is to show you that overstreet price guide isn't that far off from what the books are actually selling for. In some cases, it's a little high. Well, it's a little high because it's based on the year before's comics. And Overstreet couldn't account for the fact that, he's releasing this in June or July. He cannot account for the fact that prices are going to start going down because of the inflationary spiral we're on. So he's still basing it off the year before's values. And a lot of those values have come down. There's nothing he can do about that. That's why sometimes his prices are a little higher, sometimes they're a little lower. But overall, they're pretty decent and they're pretty close, some of those comics were within $1 or $2. Some of them was way off. Yeah, we do have some chlorine in the water, but if the chlorine is real strong, I won't wash the comic. I don't think we have fluoride in our water out here. I know we have chlorine because they use chlorine to kill the bacteria that's in the pipes. So they usually let us know in advance when that's going to happen. And you can smell it. I mean, it's strong enough you can smell it. And when they increase it like that, I don't wash comics. I don't use that for comics. Plus, I like to use warm or hot water, and yeah, it's easier to get warm or hot water through my tap than it is through heating it up and pouring it over it. You know, I mean, I could do that. So there's nothing wrong with using water. Well water is good, but it has its own problems. Well water generally has a lot of, it is hard water. Usually well water is hard water. It might have sulfur in it, could have calcium in it. You never know what's going to be in your well water. So if I had well water, I probably wouldn't use it to wash comics. I might, you know, because I'm going to let it, I mean, I'm going to let it dry anyway. I don't let it set out. What I do is I use paper towels to soak up the excess water, and then I have a 2x12 that I set on top of the comic. That has enough weight on it to keep it flat, because you got to keep the paper flat. I've been meaning to get some of those comic things that Immaculate Comics sells, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So wouldn't mind having this little washing machine, but I can't afford it right now. So I made my own, and it can double as a you know, I can use it for other things as well. It will double as a suction for when I start doing that. Yeah, that's true. Although a little salt in the water is not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you're doing, especially when you're cleaning a comic using water. A little salt in the water is not bad. Too much is bad, but a little salt is not a bad thing. You know, if you got too much and you're doing a regular bath, it's going to take the ink right off. But to wash it, and that's why I do a wash instead of a bath. The wash, I get the Tide stains almost completely gone, as much as I'm going to get from a bath, but it doesn't sit in the water for too long. And since I'm not agitating it, there's no chance that the agitation is going to remove the ink. Whereas a wash, you're just washing it off, and it's not going to remove the ink anyway. And that's why I don't use a bath, except for the hydro. When I get to using the calcium hydroxide, I actually do a bath. But what I do is I put it on a little plastic tray like thing I have, and I cover it with something and sink it and let it soak anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, depending on what I get doing and if I remember that it's in there or not. But I've never had any trouble out of it. I believe I've seen it before, Patrick. I haven't seen it recently, but I think I saw it a few years back. Unless it's a new one I haven't seen yet. Well, I got a lot of reading to do and some comics to decide which ones I'm going to actually. I'm going to go through all of them, so it doesn't matter. So I think I'm going to let this go. A new one just came out. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to see if I can find it. And if I find it, I'll watch it. And if I can't find it, I won't watch it. I'll wait for it to come out on a DVD. But I think that's going to be it for tonight. Hope everybody has it. Oh, we're still talking. Never mind. I believe there's a new one. Granted, it recaps a lot of what we already know. However, it is really good. I would recommend check it out if you can. Yeah, I don't do HBO Max. The only reason I have Prime is because I had to order a bunch of stuff from Amazon and I wanted the free shipping. So, which isn't really free because I paid for it. But I'm going to pay less for it than if I had not, and I'll let that run for a week or maybe a month or two because I want to watch the Reacher series. I've heard that's really good, so I want to watch that. And then after that, I'll probably get rid of it. Yeah, well, like I was saying, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I'm going to let you all go. Thank you for stopping in. I'm glad you could be here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff if you're not already subscribed. I'm sure most of you are. And if you've got a little spare and you want to buy me a cup of coffee, the link is down there in the description below. And I would greatly appreciate it since I'm not monetized by eBay or anybody like that. And it does help me get new equipment and buy more stuff that I need to keep the channel running. So good night, everybody. Have yourself a great week. And we will see you Friday night on Horizon Picks channel for the Friday night auction. This time I'll be there. Bye.